Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome along to Reddit iRacing League Season 23, Round 6. We're bringing you coverage here with the Legends Ford 34 Coupe at Concord Speedway. I'm David Haynes, and joining me, special guest this time, Aaron Thacker. Hello Aaron, how are we doing and what are you expecting from this race?
David, it is so glad to be back in the booth. It's been a few weeks, a few months, maybe even years to some people. It's so glad to be back. David, tonight I'm expecting some exciting racing, and I'm going to surprise you with something. I'm anxious to see some left turn.
That's good news, I suspect, because we are going to have lots and lots of left turns around this little oval with a 35-minute race. I'm having a quick look. Are we expecting a pit stop in this one, Aaron?
I believe so. This car does sip fuel, but as of with all RiL races, there is an element of fuel saving and a bit of strategy that's going to come into play here, regardless that they are doing 17-second lap.
That's right, indeed. So 35-minute race, and qualifying is just about wrapped up now. So it's time to run down our qualifying order. So on pole, it looks like, with some margin, is Jordan Babcock. Great qualifying run out of him. Alongside him on the front row will be Alexander Bueller, starting on the second row. Giovanni Romano on the inside, Philip Linden on the outside. Behind them again, Brian Beeman and Edward Behan. Austin Burdick on the inside, Alex Cofford on the outside of row 4. And row 5, Evan Merrill and John Patrick. Then Daniel Bartz, Tom Ellison, and Aaron, take us down the rest of the field.
We got Nate Franklin side by side with Hunter Reeve. Then you have the Never Lift Smith, Kyle Smith, Chris Flamian, Jay Sovignac, Mark Antonucci, Andrew Fawcett, Shane Cameron, Justin Hall, Antonio Alvarez, and coming in, unfortunately, with no qualifying lap is Ryan Verhulst. But do not count him out, David.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen this again. Antonio Alvarez buried very deep in the pack. I've said it in previous races just this season. Expect to see him come through the pack. Maybe doesn't always qualify perfectly. He's a very capable race driver and able to make some, able to make some overtakes as well. So very soon that pace car will get rolling, and I anticipate, will it be 2 laps to green, Aaron?
I believe so. And David, as much as we know, we always wait qualifying on a track like this, in a car like this, and frankly, kind of the length of this race, I think patience is going to be extremely helpful regardless of where you qualified. But Jordan Babcock, he is a circle driver. He loves turning left, and I really expect some strong things out of him today. He's starting up front, and he's going to be dangerous up there, David.
That's true, as the field does get rolling, and when the green flag comes out, it will be all action around this half-mile oval. Big banking for these little cars, 3 turns. It's a unique little track in that respect, especially for what we see on iRacing of the shorter tracks. So it'll definitely challenge our grid of 22 or 23 drivers. Let's take a look if Ryan Verhulst did take to the grid with no qualifying time. He did. He's right up the back there. So 23 cars I see taking this start.
David, we have the pace car off. We are getting ready to go green here.
And a big jump from Jordan Babcock. He gets away well. Alex Bueller does not. So Giovanni Romano comes through. So does Austin Burdick. And dropping down to 4th is Alex Bueller, but a very good lead initially for Jordan Babcock.
A fantastic start for Jordan Babcock. I mean, he's kind of already by himself. He has a half a second lead already on lap.
Yep, so Giovanni Romano getting a good jump there, and he's looked threatening all season. So now he's worked his way up into second in that always purple car. maybe a little bit of fuchsia in there as well. You'd know more than me. And he's going to now have a lot of work to do if he's going to catch Jordan Babcock, but he did by 1/10 on that lap. So Jordan Babcock off to a good start. Giovanni Romano now also getting clear of what's now a battling pack. Brian Beeman, Alex Bueller, Austin Burdick, Philip Linden there for that final podium position. They're going side by side. Alex Bueller goes to the inside trying to grab third place back, and he just might.
Yeah, David, there is no patience here. This group right here is side by side. Oh, we're about to get another two wide with the car 808 of...
So lots of action in the middle of the pack as Aaron Thacker might need to hold his push to talk or something open a little bit longer. Alex Bueller back up into third place now. The battle there is side by side as Brian Beeman tries to hold it on the high side of Austin Burdick, but I think Austin Burdick's got the move done. The low line definitely working very well through these banked corners. And now Brian Beeman's going to have to look out behind him. Philip Linden, Austin Burdick's gotten through, but now they're side by side there behind as well. So Philip Linden tries to hold the inside on Edward Behan. They're going side by side through one, and all of this looks to advantage Evan Merrill behind them, who is trying to size up some more positions as well.
Evan Merrill is being extremely patient right now, and I think Crawford behind him is also being very patient, but these guys are really getting bunched up with Edward and Philip battling here, and I think we're going to see some pretty spicy stuff if this kind of keeps up with these.
Yeah, not so patient is Tom Ellison, though, who puts his number 27 car to the inside of the 127 car, leaves Coffard a little bit high, and that is Tom Ellison through. He's now up 3 positions from what was probably a little bit of a disappointing qualifying for him. So out on track, the race pace, just looking a little bit racier for Tom Ellison. Also, Austin Burdick up 3 positions. So as things stand right now, those are equal hard charges, having a very good race. So now Tom Ellison looks to the inside of, must be Evan Merrill, and he's going to get that done too. So Tom Ellison, all of the overtakes right now. Aaron, where are your eyeballs out there? Because there is still plenty of racing now. Brian Beeman has to fend off Philip Linden, who's trying to fend off Edward Behan. And a bit of a slide for Beeman. He's going to lose 1, 2. Here comes Tom Ellison. Is he going to lose 3 positions? And nearly 3 wide there. But Tom Ellison just can't make it work on the high side. Brian Beeman just getting down too low, getting a little too much of that apron. And that really upset his car.
Extra eye on the action there, David. I was actually taking a quick breeze through the back here. Oh, and the 940 of Hunter Reeve has gotten into the wall, and he is slow entering, I think, turn 2 there, David. These guys are really battling hard. Even though they are in the back, it's also just as good. Unfortunate for Hunter Reeve there. He has made some hard contact.
Yeah, Hunter Reeve tumbling down the order to the benefit of a lot of people in our the sort of lower end of our pack, like Justin Hall, Shane Cameron, and Andrew Fawcett, who are fighting it out as well.
This is really good, David. I'm taking a quick look at our lap times here, and I think our fastest lap is currently the owner of, is that Austin Burdick, David, that I'm seeing his fast lap on?
He's pale blue on my timing screen because he's just done a 17.6, the only person in the 17.6s. So now trying to haul in that lead group. Jordan Babcock still leads Giovanni Romano, leads Alexander Bueller, but you've got to feel like Giovanni Romano might be going to make a move for the lead soon.
He is definitely hunting Jordan Babcock in that Steelers livery. Kudos to the win today with the Steelers. But I don't know if that wind is powering him right now, but he's going to need all of that to hold off Giovanni at the...
Yeah, but just saw in the first turn, Jordan Babcock turning in a little bit earlier. Giovanni Romano holding it a little bit higher, trying to get more run off the corner rather than floating it through the corner. 2 different driving styles, and at the moment, there's no difference in the lap time between them. It has to go down to the hundredths of a second before you see a difference between these two.
David,
Giovanni Romano's right there.
David, we have Thomas Ellison in the car number 27 making a move into turn 1.
So Tom Ellison continues his run up the field. He's got the 41 on the high side. Brian Beeman, Ellison down low, trying to get the run. Doesn't quite work that time, but Ellison's been making the lower bits of the track work really well for him. He's right up on the rear bump guard there. Nowhere to go to carry his momentum to make a pass that time. He's going to try and set it up off the final corner, and that works perfectly. Side by side across the stripe. He takes it low inside into the first corner. That works through the second corner, and that's job done, as now Brian Beeman's going to come under threat from Alex Coffard and Evan Merrill.
Yeah, he is really stuck on the outside here. He was doing fantastic work side by side with Thomas Ellison, but that final corner is not his strongest corner, and that's where Tom got him. But he's got to get down, unless he's running a strategy with maybe a setup, maybe a driving style. The Highline's working for him, but he's got to get down, or he's going to lose a lot more spots.
Yep, it really looks as if the way the first corner flows into the next one, you want to be on the low side for that. You just can't hold the momentum up high. But talking about that, Tom Ellison's really gotten clear of Brian Beeman, who is still holding off Evan Merrill and Alex Coffard going side by side. Evan in the orange car, I think, gets by Coffard.
Yeah, and I'm looking just a few more cars back here at Nate Franklin, who is just being very patient with his grouping. And I think these guys are being very responsible at this point. But I think Nate's thinking, if these guys keep driving like this, and maybe somebody's going to do something a little irresponsible, and I'm going to grab a few spots. But I can't imagine looking at the front windscreen is a comfortable thing to be doing right now for Nate Franklin.
I suspect he is calculated. So still lighting up the timing screens now is Philip Linden in 5th place. So it's all getting closer at the front of the field as well. Plenty of battles all the way down the order, but it's Jordan Babcock still just holding off Giovanni Romano, who has plenty of time to think about a move as there's only 91 laps to go.
David,
and Alex Bueller right up on that as well, Aaron.
Absolutely. David, I have popped back to the battle between 12 and 13, Chris Flamion, and never lived Kyle Smith. Kyle Smith is really looking to get inside Flamion. He just might get it done.
Yeah, Chris just drove in a little too hard to the final corner, had to get out of the throttle to not smack that outside wall, and never lift Smith, as we say, didn't need a second invitation. He is now through up into 12th place.
David, I am checking my timing screens, but I can't scroll fast enough. Can you give me a quick look at who is our Dick Insider hard charger at this stage?
Well, Tom Ellison in 7th place is up 5 positions, but like I said earlier, Antonio Alvarez starting from 2nd last on the grid is now up 8 spots into 14th. So he is in the middle of that pack there that's going on sort of 12th through to 17th, all under a blanket. It's got Ryan Verhulst behind him as well, who's up 7 spots. So at the moment, it is our favorite South American, Antonio Alvarez. And a bit of a shuffle around in that top lead pack as well, though, because Giovanni Romano was right on Jordan Babcock, and now he's dropped back into 4th place, and we're going to have to take a look back to see what happened there. I'm going to do that.
In the meanwhile, I'm going to keep my eye on the front here. Alexander Bueller is pressuring Jordan Babcock the hardest we have seen him yet. I mean, he keeps trying every single corner, and these guys keep battling, and this top 4 is getting real tight. Oh, we've got a spin on the back.
All right, so it was a lap 28, turn 1, where Giovanni Romano just got pushed onto the high line by Alex Bueller, and then Austin Burdick followed through as well. Who has come to grief out there, Aaron?
Unfortunately, we are looking at Chris Flamion. Him and Ryan Verhulst were battling, and I just think there was a racing incident. Ryan got a little bit under Flamion's left rear bumper there and gave him a spin on corner 3. That's unfortunate for Flamin. He's back and going again. A little bit of damage on the car, but I think he's going to continue.
I guess that kind of thing does happen in this wheel-to-wheel racing around a little track like this. So we'll run down the top of the order really quick here, because Jordan Babcock still leads, our pole man, but Alex Bueller's worked his way back through, so he's now in second where he started. Austin Burdick in third, and Giovanni Romano has been shuffled back to 4th place, but you can still throw a blanket over our lead 4. They are very equally matched. In fact, Jordan Babcock and Alex Bueller throwing down identical lap times last time around, and they're pulling a little bit of a gap on everyone else, because you've got to go back about a couple seconds, about 5 seconds back to 5th place Philip Linden, who's just clear of Edward Behan. Then Tom Ellison driving a bit of a lonely race now in 7th place. No one within a second ahead or behind him. But then from 8th place, that's a battle. Evan Merrill is ahead of Alex Coffard, is ahead of Nate Franklin, who's still being patient.
David, I've taken a quick breeze to the back of the field here. Unfortunately, these guys are pretty tight, but I just watched Justin Hall fighting for position and darn near smacked the front stretch wall. So Justin Hall battling here in the back, but he's just having a real difficult time keeping this car straight on that front stretch section here. So glad he's still going.
Yeah, just caught a glimpse of him there taking a lot of the apron through what I would call turn 2. So maybe he's just trying everything to get the car turned. Maybe he's just worn out that right front tire. That wouldn't surprise me, because there's always some steering input around the whole lap all the time here.
David, we just had a big spin in turn 4 right in front of the leaders. I'm going to scroll back and see what I can see here. That was a big moment for the...
It might be Kyle Smith, because he's on the pit lane now, and there's... So hearing that he might have gotten a little bit of help from Ryan Verhulst. Meanwhile, though, 2nd place is... they're battling very, very hard for that, because Austin Burdick temporarily got his way back past Alex Bueller, and I think he's managed to hold on to that as well. So Alex Bueller dropping back into 3rd place, Giovanni Romano in 4th, but now Austin Burdick up 5 spots, and Alex Bueller gets into some of the traffic. Big slide. He has gone around as well. So that's a few very costly laps for Alex Bueller. He's waiting, trying to get that car turned around, waiting, dropping all the way down the order, gets it rolling now, and I'm trying to work out where he will end up, but he's dropped down at least 15th, 16th place. He might be calling that. It looks parked.
That was such an unfortunate incident. I mean, that's just a lot of traffic there, and he was near Ryan Verhulst, who, has been involved in 2 incidents now. So I think Bueller may have seen Verhulst in his mirror and been a bit concerned, and I would have...
Yeah, I think what's happened there is, as Alex Bueller's trying to get by Mark Antonucci stayed high, and in going low, trying to carry his momentum down there, Alex Bueller's just come up a little bit high, tapped that lap down car of Mark Antonucci, and that's sent him round.
And unfortunately, I have some bad news for Jordan Babcock. He lost Bueller, who was on his bumper the entire race, but he has gained Austin Burdick the same distance. Burdick is back to pressuring Babcock. There is no rest for the weary here.
Yeah, precisely. We had 4 or 5 cars running up the top there that were all looking similarly pacey and all absolutely a chance for the win. But now we've lost a few of them, and there's a maybe 2 or some second gap backwards from Austin Burdick to Giovanni Romano. So now this is just our top 2, as Jordan Babcock still holding the lead, definitely our man with the most laps led, but all of them under pressure. And now that pressure man is Austin Burdick right there, trying some different lines, seeing if he can get a run at Jordan Babcock, but Jordan Babcock, nerves of steel.
Yeah, David, I just was going to tell you to move up to the 7, 8, 9 battle here. Nate Franklin finally got past Alex Coffin. Guess what? He's right on top of Evan Merrill, and he darn near made a pass into turn 1 about a lap ago, but Merrill shut the door on it. But Nate really was. Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. He's going to try it.
Yep, so Evan Merrill running very, very high, might just have enough momentum up there. He took a lot of the apron out of the final corner, gave Nate a better run towards turn 1, and now they've been side by side nearly the whole lap. Evan Merrill just hold on to it, I think. But these are two people who've raced against each other for a long time, raced with each other almost as long. Lots of respect given here, but both of them would like to beat the other. I'm absolutely sure of it.
And David, you know I enjoy checking at the back of the pack, because that's usually where I am. I am looking at Chris Fleming. He's got himself back in a battle, even though he did have a spin. The battle here for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. These guys are all pretty close to each other, and batting with a little bit of lap traffic, which doesn't make it easy.
Right, exactly there. Yep, Chris Flamian still almost side by side with John Patrick for a while. Just gets clear enough to chop down and take that line away. But pressure being put on by JP as he tries some different lines, gets a much better run out of one. Can't do anything with it this time. This is a car and track configuration that is giving us a lot of racing, and I'm loving it.
I just watched Evan Merrill go 3 wide into turn 4 with Alex Cofford and a lap car. These guys are really going for it. Cofford may not be as quick as Merrill in some of these sections, but man, that lap traffic gave him a big scare.
Yeah, so Nate Franklin did manage to get through on Evan Merrill, but you sense it could change as someone's up in the wall there of turn 1. That would be Christopher Flamian. So that's come unstuck for him. I'm also seeing John Patrick falling down the timing screen as well. So a few people not having a good time of it right now, Aaron.
Yeah, I'm going back and doing a quick review of this race. I just think another racing incident here. John Patrick gave Flamian a little bit of a pinch, and Flamian having a tough race, probably had nothing of it and kept his foot in it. Unfortunately, John Patrick had to take it.
That's tough as we lose quite a few more cars from our lead lap. I'm currently seeing maybe only about 14.
Oh, David, we've got to spin the leader. The leader, Jordan Babcock, is wrecked on the front stretch. Jordan Babcock is wrecked on the front.
Well, this one is definitely going to need a replay. Looking at it right now, there's a lot of damage on that car. Let's see exactly what happened. Coming out of the final turn, he is trying to put a lap on Jay Sofianiak, and that car has just stayed a little bit lower than Jordan Babcock was expecting. They've made some wheel-to-wheel contact there, and that has just pendulum Jordan Babcock around, contact with the inside wall. He's come up into the outside wall, and heartbreak for our race leader, our pole sitter, a man who has led almost all of the laps since we started, and that elevates Austin Burdick into the lead. But he's still only just 1 second clear of Giovanni Romano, who's pulled some time out of him. But now our leader, that number 07 car, Austin Burdick.
It's so unfortunate to see that, and David, I watched him drive into the pits. The wheels were about at a 45-degree angle, so he has got some significant damage due to the contact he made with that car. Thankfully, he's probably got a fast repair in the bank, but man, that lead is done, and unfortunately, David, I think his chance for the win tonight is pretty much...
Yep, they say legends never die, but Jordan Babcock's car, someone should probably put it out of its misery. Thankfully, they have managed to repair it. He's coming back out on track, but down in 18th place, unfortunately, for him. Battle for 3rd place, looking exciting. It's now Philip Linden. Tom Ellison moved his way up into 4th. Lots of position gained for that man. And now he might be looking at a podium position. That'd be very exciting for him, but he's got to hold off Edward Behan in the 808 behind him.
Yeah, David, we're really at the point in the race here where you are battling someone for position in front of you, but at the same time, your head is out on an absolute swivel, looking out for lap traffic. Tom Ellison and Philip did a fantastic job of getting around Shane Cameron, who very respectively let these guys pass because they are battling for a podium, like you said.
Yeah, but on that previous lap, Tom Ellison did pull 3/10 out of Philip Linden, and he's looking at that podium position. There's a glint in his eyes. He can see a little bit of silverware maybe coming his way this evening. 47 laps to go. He looks to the inside on Philip Linden, but he's just not close enough that time around. But if these cars have got particularly big mirrors, Tom Ellison is filling all of Philip Linden's.
Yeah, David, I just called down to the pit real quick, and unfortunately, Jordan Babcock is still in the pits. I really hope he isn't calling it a night, David, but like we've said, that damage was pretty bad. He does have a fast repair, but I don't know. He's not feeling good.
Yeah, he brought it down, got a little bit of repairs or some service done, and I'm seeing this as his second time on the lane. So he's gone back. Maybe something's still wrong with the car, maybe another incident, maybe he just realized his chances of even a top 10 were probably gone.
David, I have scrolled back to the battle between 12 and 13, Ryan Verhulst and Hunter Reeve. It's getting a bit crowded back here. These guys are battling for position, but Ryan Verhulst has got himself a reputation in this race, so he needs to be really careful with these other cars around him, and I think the other cars around him are probably thinking the same.
Yeah, not necessarily just this race. So he's in a little bit of a sandwich. Mark Antonucci out front of him, got a couple car lengths. Hunter Reeve right on the rear, maybe going to try and make a move for 12th place. Ryan Verhulst, of course, no qualifying time, started from the back of the grid, and he's carried on, soldiered on this race, so that puts him up 11 positions. Hunter Reeve hoping to make that maybe only 10 for him. A little bit of a weave on the front stretch. He takes the earlier turn into turn 1. Hunter Reeve takes the later one and slips by right underneath. So he'll take the inside into the final corner and maybe take that 12th spot away from Ryan Verhulst. Yes, he does. Ryan's got a better run high though. Can't make much of it. Maybe teeny bit of wheel-to-wheel contact puts Ryan Verhulst high, and Hunter Reeve, I think, has maybe, I want to call the position done, but then Ryan Verhulst looks to the inside again in the final corner, and now, this time, doesn't get the run. Hunter Reeve's got that position, at least temporarily.
Yeah, David, I was just taking a quick look up the front there. We have a change for the last podium spot. Thomas Ellison has made it past Philip Linden. I went and reviewed the pass, and Philip Linden just kind of let him have it. You know what? I think he may have felt that, Tom is quicker. Let's not cause any issues. Philip's running a great race. So was Tom. I think that was just a respect move on Philip Linden's part to give Tom Ellison a hard-fought P3 position right now.
We've seen that as a faster car comes up, sometimes it can take 2-3 laps to get the move completely finished. And while those two cars are going side by side, it costs both of them time. Could have just been a racing deal from Philip Linden. Like, okay, let's let him get out front, lead, and hopefully I can get onto this, put in some quick laps as well, and not be caught by 5th place Edward Behan. Still a bit of time, still plenty of laps. Philip Linden could potentially try and make a move for it later, but he's just not drawn out the process, and that could be clever racing.
And yeah, David, David, I have an update on our Dick Insider hard charge of the race. Our main man, Antonio Alvarez, he has taken another spot. He has now moved up 13 positions. He is now in P8 with a pass on Evan Merrill on that last lap.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he put in a poor qualifying lap for fun, but Antonio Alvarez now looking very racy in race pace. So up into 8th spot. I don't want to say he's too far behind Alex Cofford and Nate Franklin to catch them, but if I say he is, then he'll go and prove me wrong. So I don't think he can catch 6th and 7th place.
Yeah, you mentioned Cofford, Alexander Cofford and Nate Franklin are going at it. Cofford really has not left Nate Franklin's bumper in any capacity when he was in front of him or when he's behind him. So these two, I think they understand how each other drive these cars at this point. Oh, here we have a pass by Cofford. He's going to go.
Yeah, Cofford goes down to the inside, again, this is one of those things where he doesn't quite get enough of a run to be clear into turn 1, but Nate Franklin heads up, lifts out maybe just a little bit so he can drop down to the inside line, gets a much better run through that sort of middle corner. But respect given, these two not fighting too hard, but still making a good battle of it as Ryan Verhulst tries to get a lap back, and he's let through as well. That's how I'm seeing that battle. No, that's the that's not Ryan Verhulst. That is the 07 car of Austin Burdick, our overall leader, putting these guys a lap down. My apologies. I saw a black car, and Ryan's normally in a deep blue. I got confused. But I'll tell you where Ryan Verhulst is in a very close battle with Mark Antonucci, who's dropped behind Hunter Reeve. Now it's Mark Antonucci versus Ryan Verhulst for 11th place.
David, I have 2 updates here. One is very unfortunate and another one is sad. I'm watching Evan Merrow. He appears on track by what happened. He appears to have had some sort of hardware failure. He went hard left into the wall and then disconnected from the race. So unfortunately, we have lost Evan Merrow. And the sad, I just got a report from the pit that we have seen Jordan Babcock's car on the hauler and he has left the racetrack.
Disappointment then for 2 Reddit iRacing League long-timers, and it's some of the newer recruits who leading this race 1 and 2, Giovanni Romano trying to chase down Austin Burdick, but then one of our really old-timers, Tom Ellison in 3rd place, still holding off Philip Linden. Nate Franklin, Alex Coffard still battling hard, but Ryan Verhulst has gotten past Mark Antonucci. Those are some of our battles out there on track right now with 7 minutes or 25 laps before we hand out the trophies and the silverware.
David, I have popped back to the Chris Fleming, who has had himself, let's say, a pretty crappy race. Fleming, he's working his way back up. He's working to make a pass on Jay, which he has just completed. So Fleming, who has had a heck of a race, he's seen the wall, he's seen contact, he's seen spins, he's been driving out his rearview mirror. He's back on track. He's climbing back up some spots. I think this guy is breaking a sweat out there just to have a good finish.
Yeah, precisely. And it takes a few things to make Christopher Fleming sweat. I think Mark Antonucci still tumbling down. Someone's into the inside wall on the front stretch there. The number 19, that's Shane Cameron, who we've not spoken a whole lot about this race. And now, as we do, it's for all the wrong reasons. It's a hard hit. And now he's on the pit lane. Tough break for Shane Cameron there.
Yeah, David, I just watched a replay. That was completely self-induced. He was pushing really, really hard out of turn 4. And just kept his foot in it, and man, he ricocheted off one, ricocheted off another, and he has found himself in pit lane taking some probably required repair.
I imagine so. That's very unfortunate for Shane Cameron. There might just be that as the tyres wear down, some of these guys are struggling to find the pace out there because we're seeing a few more unforced errors. Let's see, though, up and down the grid where our other battles are. Austin
David,
Burdick
I am checking out the battle between Alexander Cofford and Nate Franklin. Alexander Cofford has got the job done. Oh, we got Fleming spun in.
So just as we were praising that recovery drive for Christopher Fleming, it's come undone for him again. Have a quick look what might have happened. I think that was all him out of the final corner, just in the throttle too early, hit the outside wall, and then gone for a couple barrel rolls. That's all by himself, and that car is no longer pretty.
Let's take a jump up to the battle for 6 and 7. Nate Alexander Crawford, Nate Franklin, and unfortunately, okay, excuse me. We have a Ryan Verhulst right in the middle of that. Ryan Verhulst did let Nate Franklin go, but that was a scary first second from the announcer booth.
Yeah, and because I said it couldn't happen, it's happening. Antonio Alvarez now within 1 second of Nate Franklin. With some of the unfortunate things that happen to some others, this is now a battle for 6th place. So Alex Coffard with a little bit of a gap on Nate Franklin, lapped car there, and then Antonio trying to absolutely cement his position as the Dickens Cider hard charger of the race, up 14 spots, trying to make it more. To ride on board there with the South American, trying to get by lap car of Ryan Verhulst. Antonio makes his intentions very, very clear, goes to the inside of turn 1, parks it just a little bit there, and I suspect that will be job done just for the minute. He's now got to look forwards out the windscreen at the number 24 car of Nate Franklin and the 127 of Alex Coffard. That is his goal with just 3 minutes left in this race. It's flown by action the whole way, Aaron.
It absolutely has flown by. David, I've actually popped up to the Austin Burdick and Giorgiano Romano. With 3 minutes left, Austin Burdick is about to get himself a 2-car lap traffic little bundle here. And these guys are battling for position. Giovanni is maybe looking for some opportunity here with this lap traffic ahead of Austin Burdick.
Yep, so Brian Beeman, John Patrick, not on the same lap. So they're out there, both laps down on the leader. And Austin Burdick has maybe 3/10, 4/10 on Giovanni Romano, who's a little bit of a wise head, and I think will maybe have an opportunity to close up a little bit. 8 laps to go, and I think that's John Patrick letting him through pretty easily, so that helps out the leaders. Now they've got one more lap car, Brian Beeman, to get through here.
He's not being too nice up there, David. He's not letting him by. He's holding his line. Here comes Giovanni because...
Yep, so slows down a little bit on the outside of the final corner. Lets Austin Burdick through. Does he stay up there to let Giovanni Romano through? Giovanni's looking to the inside, wants to get through in the final turn, and indeed he does. So the gap there, half a second, 5/10 between Austin Burdick, Giovanni Romano. Tom Ellison in third's gotten a bit clear of Philip Linden and Edward Behan, who are now battling 4th and 5th position.
David, let's go quickly to P7, P8. Guess who's coming? Antonio Alvarez is hunting Nate Franklin with just at a minute to go left of this race.
I imagine that whether he gets his position done or not, Antonio Alvarez has the Dickens Cider hard charger of the race just about locked up, because the only other person who is close would be Ryan Verhulst, who didn't set a qualifying time and therefore isn't eligible for the Dickens Cider hard charger. So I'm confident to give it to Antonio Alvarez, pending any disaster for him with 3 laps to go. He's still looking at Nate Franklin, though. He's trying some different lines. He tries to take the later entry into turn 1. That gives him a fantastic run, but nowhere to take it. They come into the final corner. He doesn't look to the inside, but he does freak Nate Franklin out a little bit, who kind of misses his turn. Now they're side by side. To the inside goes the Colombian. Tries to hold that down there. Doesn't quite have the run Nate Franklin's got high. Yes, he does. And now they're going to be side by side into the final corner. At what point does Nate Franklin give this up? Because I think Antonio Alvarez, again, still not quite the run out the final corner. But as things are right now, there's a battle for the lead as well, though, because that's down to 2/10. Austin Burdick has to defend. The checkered flag is out, though, And Austin Burdick is our winner from Giovanni Romano. And Tom Ellison, not too far behind, is about to take that checkered flag as well, I believe. So I thought we had one more lap, but with these short laps, changes around. Tom Ellison grabs third, Philip Linden fourth, and Edward Behan fifth.
And holy cow, what a finish between Nate Franklin and Antonio Alvarez. The gap at the line was 0.02 of a second, with Antonio Alvarez taking one more spot at the line.
Yep, so we'll run down your official order now. This is how they finished. Austin Burdick first, Giovanni Romano second, Tom Ellison in third place. Fourth place goes to Philip Linden, fifth, Edward Behan, sixth, Alex Coffard, and Antonio Alvarez grabbing seventh place from Nate Franklin right in the dying moments of the race. We're going to see if we can get some interviews. We'll try and grab some of our podium finishes. So we might start with our winner. If I don't have the permissions in this server to grab people. So we've got our winner here. Austin, tell me about that one, because it looked like the wheel-to-wheel battling with this car and track combination was pretty ferocious, and in the end it was less than half a second that you held off Giovanni Romano for the win.
Well, a lot of this track came down to the line and how well the lap cars let you by. Babcock probably should have won this one. He just got really unlucky on the front stretch at one point and got hit by a lap car, got into a lap car, whatever. Giovanni was really catching up to me at the end. I was getting real afraid of that because I really wanted to try to win this one, and luckily did it. Yeah.
So was there any effect of tire wear throughout this race? Because the lap times dropped off just a little bit. Were you having to manage maybe the front right tire?
Towards the end there, last 20 or so laps, last 4 minutes, the car started to get real loose on me and a little bit sideways, had to correct it a little bit. For most of the race, it was stayed pretty stable, but just towards the end, it was starting to get real loose, and that's probably why I was giving up some pace to Giovanni as well.
All right, well, a win. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. Anyone you need to thank, any shout-outs while you're on the air?
Well, I've got to thank Don, the guy that gave me this setup. Really, the only reason I was probably competitive here, and just thank all the guys out there for racing here, racing clean, getting out of the way, doing all that, and thanking all the guys that run this whole thing so we could even get a chance to race. So, I thank all those guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much for dropping in and have a word with us. Congratulations to you, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Think it's Thanksgiving, but yeah, I'll try to be here for the next race. I have the con.
Oh yeah, next race then. Yep. Awesome. Thanks so much. We'll see if we can grab a second or our third place finisher. And we've got second place Giovanni Romano. Well, up one spot from where you qualified, but unfortunately just not close enough to be able to grab that win, Giovanni.
Yeah, it was a really close race with Austin there. I think we were about a second apart there for the second half of the race. It was really good racing.
Later in the race, the traffic became a pretty big factor for the lead cars. How were you dealing with that, and did you get some respect out there?
I think there was a lot of respect, at least for me. Everyone gave me the bottom and a good amount of space. Maybe one or two times I had to lift out of it to avoid any contact, but I was being pretty conservative. I was focusing more on points than anything. Yeah.
118 laps, and it comes down to half a second. what did you need? What little edge was it going to take for you to be able to grab the win?
I think the only way I could have gone around Austin is either if he made a mistake or if lap traffic held him up. And he got held up a little bit there in the last few laps, which allowed me to get into within half a second. But it's so hard to pass in these cars without someone making a mistake.
All right. Well, pretty good race from you still, as you say, thinking about points, and they pay plenty for second place. How do you think that puts you in the championship? Are you trying to make a tilt for the crown at the end of the season?
Yeah, that's the idea. Although I think I made a tiny bit of ground because I think Tom finished third, but better than last week where I didn't make anything up. So it's pretty close between me and Tom. It should be exciting.
Well, a pretty good result here for you, and I'm sure you're looking forward to the next round. Will we see you there?
Yep, that's the plan.
Awesome. Anyone you need to thank? Any shout-outs while we got you?
The OSR Racing for the setup. I think a lot of people were running that setup actually, but definitely helped. I have no idea how to set up a car, so that was nice. And Lappers for racing me clean with respect.
Alrighty, thank you so much. Giovanni Romano, second place finisher, maybe with some title aspirations. We'll have to see. There's still a long way to go in this season. We'll see if we can grab our third place finisher. Indeed we can. And Aaron Thacker standing by with third place finisher Tom Ellison.
Tom Ellison, you, sir, made quite a few moves tonight, up 9 positions from your starting. What did you see out there? How did the car behave? And how did you...
What's up, guys? Yeah, it was a really fun race. I wasn't expecting it to be that fun, but didn't qualify well. Qualified in 12th, so was able to set about the cars in front in the early laps. Made a couple of good moves, I think, and then just kept on trucking towards the end. A lot of incidents out there, but generally I think lap traffic was really well behaved, a lot of courteous and respectful driving, and was able to get to third in the end.
Yeah, Tom, that was going to be my next question, is dealing with traffic on this. I mean, there's kind of one line, and if you've got a car in front of you, you've got some lappers battling, what's really the strategy? Do you play some pay patience, or you just use a little bumper if you need to get past these?
Little bumper's not my style. I personally was just making sure that they'd seen me and then waiting until they purposefully made a move either offline or gave me a signal on the voice chat. You have to be patient through here because the car's so unstable on corner entry that if you're just a little bit offline, a little bit at the wrong speed, then you'll go around instantly.
Nice. Well, Tom, thank you for stopping and having a chat with us. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight after your fantastic drive for the final spot on the podium?
Yeah, I mean, the guy I really want to give a big shout out to is my teammate Phil Linden. He did a lot of testing this week and came up with a really strong race setup that was a pleasure to drive all race. It was able to really work it hard, and he did a great drive as well to come in fourth. It's a great result for our team, and all credit to him.
Okay. Thank you, Tom, for joining us. We'll see you next race.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for everything you do.
Yep, and well, this shows that I am the Australian here in the broadcast booth, because it hadn't crossed my mind that next Sunday is in fact a Thanksgiving holiday. So no race then, but in 2 weeks' time, on December 2nd, we will be back with round 7 of the Reddit iRacing League. So we get towards the pointy end of the championship. That's going to be the 2016 MX5 Cup car around Road Atlanta. So from a pretty short track like this to what's going to be a relatively long lap in that Mazda, Aaron, that's going to be an exciting one to look forward to, isn't it?
It really is going to be an exciting one to look forward to. I think we're all going to enjoy a nice week off, regardless, David, of Australia. You guys may not observe that, but here in the States, we're all going to observe a nice week off and give our thanks to the family and eat some good food and then come back to some really exciting.
That sounds like a plan. So from all of us here at HJBC, at the Reddit iRacing League, hope you enjoyed the racing. There was wheel-to-wheel battling everywhere we looked the whole race. It was a pleasure to call. I'm David Haynes. In our production truck was Michael Derby, And alongside me for the commentary here, Aaron Thacker. From all of us, thank you so much and good night.